Move out if you don't like it, my dad said after demanding rent, while my brother lived free because he was working on his future. So I moved out overnight, and Saeed, expect a future where you're homeless. Because my dad slammed his palm against the kitchen table so hard his coffee cup rattled. $1,200 starting next week, he said, his voice flat and unapologetic. Either you pay your fair share, or you pack your shit and move out. I stared at him, my hands still covered in grease from a 12-hour shift at the rail yard. $1,200? Dad, I already cover the groceries and all the utilities. What about Julian? Julian, my 22-year-old brother, was sitting on the living room sofa in his designer sweatpants. He didn't even look up from his phone. Julian is building a business, my dad snapped, his chest puffing out with pride. He's an entrepreneur. He's networking. He is working on his future. You're just punching a clock. Don't be bitter because your brother has ambition. He's been working on an e-commerce brand for 3 years, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He hasn't earned a single dollar. He sleeps until noon and spends your money on fake followers. Julian smirked from the couch, tapping the screen. It's called brand identity, Marcus. Some of us don't want to smell like diesel fuel for 40 years. I looked at my dad, hoping for a shred of reason. When my mom passed 4 years ago, I promised her I'd protect the family. I stayed local. I took a grueling union job instead of moving out of state for college. I swallowed my pride every single day while my dad treated Julian like a prodigy and treated me like an unwanted tenant. You heard me? My dad sneered, leaning in close. $1,200 by Friday cash. Don't like it? The door is right behind you. Are you sure about this, Dad? I asked quietly. Dead sure. You aren't freeloading in my house anymore. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just nodded, washed my hands in the sink, and walked up to my bedroom. That night, while they were asleep, I packed 4 duffel bags. My clothes, my birth certificate, and the thick metal lockbox I kept hidden under my floorboards. By 4 a.m., my truck was loaded. Before I left, I walked into the kitchen and set 2 things on the table. My house key and a printed formal notice from First Horizon Bank. I heard footsteps behind me. My dad had come down for water. He stopped in his tracks, seeing the bags in my truck through the window and my keys on the counter. He crossed his arms, letting out a mocking laugh. So you're actually running away? Good luck finding an apartment on your salary, tough guy. You'll be begging to come back in 2 weeks. I turned around to face him. The house was dead quiet. I won't be back, I said softly. Fine by me, he spat. Julian and I will manage just fine without your dead weight. No, you won't, I said. Expect a future where you're both completely homeless. Because you forgot who actually keeps the roof over your head. His smug smile flickered. What the hell are you talking about? This is my house. Check the counter, I told him. He walked over slowly, picking up the paper beside my key. As he read the header, the color completely drained from his face. 3 years ago, after Mom died, you defaulted on the equity loan, I said, my voice cold and calm. The bank was 72 hours away from seizing this house. You broke down crying in my truck, begging me not to let Julian lose his home. His hands began to tremble. Your credit was trash, so the bank wouldn't refinance with you, I continued. I signed the assumption agreement. I took on the $70,000 lien under my name. Every single month, the $1,200 I spent wasn't groceries and bills. I was paying the lender directly to keep the foreclosure. Paused under a temporary hardship, forbearance tied to my employment. Julian had wandered into the hallway, rubbing his eyes. What's going on? My dad didn't answer him. His eyes were wide with sheer terror. Marcus, you can't just drop this. I called the loan officer yesterday afternoon, I said, looking straight into my dad's eyes. I officially revoked my third-party payer guarantee and terminated the hardship agreement. Since this house is legally in Mom's unprobated estate and you have 0 income on paper, the accelerated default notice activates on Monday. You ruined us, my dad whispered, his voice cracking. You told me to move out if I didn't like paying rent, I said, putting my boots on. So I did. Sell Julian's brand. Let's see if his ambition can pay off $62,000 in 30 days. I walked out the front door, got into my truck, and didn't look in the rearview mirror once.